All right, all right. I'm really excited today. Have my good friend Matt Garabedian on today for the Legacy Blueprint podcast. Matt is the phenom investor. Been friends with Matt for a couple years now, and Matt has so much knowledge to share with our guests. So I'm excited to welcome Matt to the show. Welcome, Matt. I'm excited to have you on, brother.
Happy to be here, Joe, as always. Love spending time and chatting with you, and enjoy all the friendship we've and times we've had over the last several years. It's been a blast.
Yeah, man, definitely. So we were just chatting about different groups, different masterminds. You and I have met in a high-level mastermind, and I know you're involved in multiple different masterminds at this point. So, I mean, maybe you want to chat a little bit about. Let's just kick the conversation off that way, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we actually my first event really was at your office in New Jersey when you had.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so there was a lot of guys that in that original group that a lot of people would probably know if we were name dropping, but good collection of guys, and really like that experience, going from a solopreneur mindset to walking into a conference room of guys that are all like-minded, share very similar attributes and characteristics and goals and ideas. And then on top of that, like you could totally relate to everybody in the room because either they are going through the same struggles or have gone. And the best part about it is like everyone's open and trying to share, and add value to everyone in the room, which is totally, like against the norm, right?
Sure.
Most people started, right? Like, hey, I got this working for me. I'm not sharing it, especially if you're in my market. So that taught me that, there are like-minded individuals that, want to see you succeed. But the key is, right, like you got to get yourself in that room. And so as we know, Joe, that's where, it seems like 90%, fail at convincing themselves to invest in themselves, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Get uncomfortable, start to pay attention, start to level up, but have to get in the right room where, your sphere starts to change, your friendships start to change, you start to get uncomfortable with, getting into higher level relationships with people that make you get uncomfortable, but in a good way, right? Start to push you to become the person that maybe you really were meant to be.
You said it perfectly. And, as we grow in our businesses and we tend to be able to get pulled in different directions, it's hard sometimes to stay focused on, your core, right? What your unique gifts and your unique ability are. And I think all of us have worked really hard to identify them, develop them, and then harness them, right? So sometimes there's a lot of shiny object syndrome, so we could easily get distracted, right? And so if you've got a buddy or a friend that kind of knows where you're really good at and kind of sees you going off to the road there, it's important to have those relationships. Hey man, like what's going on? And you got to be vulnerable, right? You got to be vulnerable and share. So you can't go into these masterminds and hey, everything's great, I'm killing it, like marketing's working, the employees are happy, money's coming in, shoot, it's all good. And unfortunately that doesn't exist. So you've got to come in and be vulnerable. You've got to be open and honest and share where you need help. And that's where the magic happens. You got to just no ego, just go. And it's like, hey man, like I'm here, I want to see what the guys are doing that are doing it at a higher level. And maybe there's a couple people in the room that you can inspire and give some nuggets to. It's just it's a sharing thing, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting because, even at the level of success that we've had, and we're always grateful for the level of success that we've gained over the course of the years. I think it's funny because when we call each other, we were able to bitch about the stuff that's not going right, that's kind of like messed up at that day, that week, that month. And the fact is that there's always something that gets crumbling. There's always that left hook that comes out of the random Tuesday afternoon, and it's hard to have that conversation at a high level with people that haven't experienced, being successful, getting pushed back down, being successful, push back, and pushing through the problems. If we had the conversation that we just had 20 minutes ago before this call with someone who hadn't experienced any of those setbacks and failures and then achievements, people would be on the call with like going like, what are these guys talking about, right? It would be they would be scared to death about the conversation, and it's just a normal back and forth with us.
It's like a good percentage of my time is talking about these specific topics and issues, because we have so much passion for what we do. We actually do the business. We're not talking about theory all day. So when you get kicked in the balls, you've got to have a support group. I remember several times where I felt like the world was falling down, and being able to reach out to you, Joe, and to other guys in our groups, like, it's huge, because it's not something that you feel is a burden to them, because they want to know, and they could relate, and in the process, like, the magic happens. Like, there's, I don't know, I just get excited, and for me, just to kind of wrap up the reason that I do invest in the masterminds is, just accountability, and I know that if I'm paying for something, I'm paying attention, and we go to these things for pieces of info that, we gather as gold nuggets, right? Like, we don't go and drink, information through a fire hose to these things, because a lot of it is very, old hat, if you will. But, those little gold nuggets that you could pick up, or something that mindset shift, as a 10 to 15 to 20% increase to our business is massive.
Yeah. And I always tell people, it's that 1% change we make. It's not a gigantic shift or swing every time. It's like, you don't go to these events and throw a hand grenade in your business and start from scratch. If you did that, you'd be at level 1 every single time, right? But it's always that little tweak, that little hack, that little momentum shift that really becomes that thing that changes the whole trajectory long term. But it's a little implementation, the little thing that you put into your business each time that it's like, wow, if I would have done that, or it might have taken me 2 years to do that, and I just learned and did it in one day. That really is what helps you leapfrog, the competition, which is cool. So Matt, I know that, both of us have created a lot of success in real estate, and I want to talk about those accomplishments and where your team is at today and what you guys are working on. But I want to digress for a second, because it wasn't always like this, right, for you, and certainly wasn't for me. The listeners have heard my story before. They've known some of the struggles that I've gone through. But I mean, can you walk them through kind of where you've been, what you've been through, and then kind of, lead us into what you got going on today?
Yeah, sure. So my name is Matt Garabedian, obviously, and I'm born and raised in Fresno, California. So I'm on the West Coast, and we're located basically right in the Central Valley between LA and San Francisco. So just, I don't want to bore you with my past, but basically, I came from a family that, did their best, but we were never, financially stable, or, we lived paycheck to paycheck, and many times it seemed like it was worse than that. So at a very young age, I recognized in myself that I knew that there was bigger and better and more out there. And, it was just ingrained in me that, I wanted more for myself. So I wasn't a natural entrepreneur, right? So I actually was an athlete. So I spent most of my, teenage years and childhood and all the way through college playing sports. And I spent all my time there, really. And, when that came to an end, it wasn't a shock to me, because I never thought I was going to be a professional ball player or anything. But, when it does come to an end, you're like, okay, now what? And, I kind of, didn't really know for a good couple years. And then, right around the time of, the economic meltdown in 06, 07, and then finally in 08, I started dabbling in real estate finance, and I was actually wholesaling subprime mortgages, which is kind of an interesting topic. So I represent a large company that would take all the terrible loans and then sell them to Wall Street. So my job was to collect the loans from the street, package them up, send them to the direct lender, the warehouse lender, fund them, and then they'd sell them to Wall Street, right? So I learned this hustle, like, oh my gosh, like, dude, you can make some money. So I made some money. I don't remember how I did it or what I was doing, because it was like brand new language to me. But I had made some money, and then the collapse happened, and then I went broke, and I got my house foreclosed. I got my car repossessed. When I met my wife, I was in tens of thousands of dollars in debt. When we got married, we had, I don't know, less than $1,500 to our name. But I still kind of had this ambition in me and this self-belief that, you know what, like, this is my path. And no matter what adversity or circumstance is going to come, you know, I just want to keep forging ahead, because I had I had an awareness that going and throwing in the towel and just saying, you know what, like, the entrepreneurial path is not for me, I'm just going to go get a job, was non-negotiable. I never considered it. And maybe people think that at the time that was irresponsible, because I had now a wife and I had obviously financial problems, and the family and society tells you what, to grow up and go get a paying job so that there's money coming in every month, right? But I just knew that that was a trap. I knew if like I made that decision, I would never go back. And so, you know, like, thank God I had that spirit, you know, to persevere. And I'll never remember this. Like, I literally remember, you know, the bank saying, hey, look, you know, we'll give you a cash for keys, or, you know, we're kicking you out. Right. I'm like, I'll take the cash for keys. They gave me like $6,500. So at the time I was like, okay, that's a little bit of breathing room. But here's how weird I am and how my brain works. Like, most people who get foreclosed on are going to go from like this was a brand new house. They're going to go to an apartment, right? They're going to downsize to a lower income neighborhood, get that $600 rent, and then, you know, kind of like, okay, now what? For me, I said, no, I'm moving to the best neighborhood and I'm going to rent this house that I can't afford. But I knew that for whatever reason, I just knew that like I needed to do that. Like the foreclosure, you know, was in the past, but I needed to like subconsciously like level myself up, because I knew if I went backwards, I'm never going to get out. So I forced myself.
So powerful. That right there. I just got to stop you for a second so the listeners can almost rewind that and listen to it again, right? Because that goes along the lines of so many things: taking care of yourself, taking care of your mindset, understanding your needs, you know, following through with your gut. You know, there are some times when you feel like you're so down and out that there's no turning back. But the fact of the matter is, even at the bottom of the bottom, Matt, you had the foresight to understand that the only way you were going to get out of it is if you kept the environment right for you to be successful. Right. And that is so impactful. So, I mean, I apologize for interrupting, but I mean, that is just, I have to put an exclamation point on that.
Thank you. No, I think that was a huge point in my evolution. Right. I really look back to that point because I had no reason to believe in myself. You know, I wasn't like, hey, I'm knocking down wholesale deals. At the time, I was building a property management company, right? So we know how that goes, like thinking like,
sure,
business, right? Well, no, I mean, you know, I was doing it out of necessity. And that came with a lot of backlash, and rightfully so, because, no one in their right mind does that. And you know, your family, your friends, dude, Matt, it's okay to put your ego away. Like, it's okay to move to the other side of town. You don't have to keep up with the Joneses. I'm like, but you don't understand. I'm not doing that to put on a front. I'm doing this for me and my family, because I believe in this path. So, you know, as that progressed, of course, you know, we I started working in the business, and I started taking that second opportunity very seriously. So it wasn't like, I bailed out of that first one. Now I weaseled my way into the second opportunity. How much time can I buy now to just eventually turn out like a loser? Right. I said, no, like, this is my second chance and I've got to make it happen. And so, you know, most people would say, oh, you know, I made this decision and it started raining money. Well, that's not the case either. It was another 2 or 3 years of grinding, of figuring out where I wanted to do. And, through being proactive and really trying to find my way, I finally found the concept of wholesaling. That's another opportunity where, you know, I had another chance to come out of pocket and invest in and information and knowledge, and I didn't have the money. So, you know, we hear a guy say, you know, at those times you've got to be, you know, a resourceful person if you really want things to happen, right? And this knowledge was interesting to me because at the time, if you think I'm just a broker, I'm managing people's properties, I'm running back and forth with a chicken with his head cut off. I'm selling some apartment deals. I'm making some money, but this wholesaling thing just keeps hitting me, you know, like a ton of bricks. And there's something about it that is just so intriguing to me. And so you start investigating. And at the time, this is like 2009. So there wasn't a whole bunch of information out there, right? There was, at the time, Preston Ely was like the first rock star internet guy, right? So he was like, who is this guy? Like, I could relate with him. Like, he talked my language. He was young. He was hanging out at the Starbucks, like laughing at people and cashing these big checks. And I'm like, what does this guy do? So I start learning, and one thing leads to another that leads me to the Fortune Builders program. And now they had just moved to San Diego and rolling out their mastery program, and they wanted 12 grand. I'm like, I go to my wife, hey, you know, I really want to do this real estate thing. Give her the $9 grand. You're already a broker. Like, what the heck do you need to know? I'm like, this is different. This is different. And she's like, oh, I don't know. I think you should just concentrate. You know, like, we just got through this mess and we don't have that money, and just do what you're doing, you know, close deals. I'm like, yeah, but I just really want to do this. And so, you know, after a while, she saw how passionate I was. And me being the sales guy that I am, I connect with the guy at, you know, Fortune Builders, and I tell him my story. I say, look, man, like, you know, how can I get into this program? Make a long story short, they financed me, right? So I didn't have to come in with all the $12,000. I came in with a $2,500 down payment. I sold some stuff, $2,500. Okay, you know, now I got to figure out how to learn and implement and pay this back. You know, and I did. You know, I took action. I didn't overthink it, man. I'm like, this is it. I'm going, and that's it. There's no other decision. And the first deal I did, I made 27 grand on a $52,000 purchase, total purchase price. So I picked it up for 25, sold it for 52. I made 27,000, and I'm like, oh my God, dude! If I just stuck a sign in this guy's front yard, I would have made $1,500. But the knowledge, right? The knowledge opened up my mind, and now I took this realtor broker hat off. And now I changed my identity. We talk about how we change our identity. My identity shifted to, I'm an investor. I don't know how I'm going to be an investor. I haven't got a pot to piss in, but I'm an investor. And I believed it. And so did others. And then, as you know, that those promises you make to yourself, those small commitments, those you show up, you do what you're supposed to do, those little wins. Next thing you know, they start to add up, and now deals are coming in. And now I'm like making 150, 200, 300 grand in wholesaling. I'm like, wow, like, this is a game changer. Around the same time, you know, I learned a strategy called Subject To. And because I was at the right place at the right time, I believe, I got a referral. And this was like the unicorn of deals. Like, it was a 17-unit apartment complex that I took Subject To with, you know, with day one, $500,000 of equity, day one. And my partner and I, we took it down and ended up, you know, flipping it. And we both made 300 grand, and that changed my life. So when they say you're one deal away, it's really true. That allowed me to then buy my house, my dream house, right? Like, I went from fucking foreclosed, thinking I'm going to go to the 2-bedroom apartment, like fighting myself, going to this neighborhood to rent. I had no business, grinding, struggling, getting, you know, all this stuff happening, investing more, pushing. And then boom, you wake up and you're like, oh my God, how did this happen? You know, and it's emotional for me, dude, because we all have the same story. I'm in the process of writing the book through the DM challenge. So all of these memories are coming back, and I'm like, oh my God, man, one of my gifts is just fortitude.
Damn. I love it. Dude,
So
I tell you what, I've known you for years. We've gone on incredible trips together. We've gone to Cabo. We've gone all over the place, and I have never heard the entire story. I've heard bits and pieces.
right.
I mean, I never got the whole. I never got the whole thing, man. I mean, that was awesome for me. That was intense, and so I got to go back because there's a couple really big takeaways. I didn't want to keep interrupting because it was so good. I mean, I had to let you go with it. But look, there's a couple huge for the especially the real estate entrepreneurs that are paying attention to this, because this is going to be, there's going to be some key real estate investing type podcasts on this show. But this is really about legacy. We're going to get into that in a second. But for real estate investors, guys, investing in yourself, right? Number one, Matt is the epitome of investing in yourself. Even when you don't feel like you have it, even when you feel like you're taking a leap of faith, even when you feel like it's the last thing you got left. I've done the same thing, right? So, I mean, excuse me, Matt and I are in that same page. I mean, there are times when, it might be the last $1,000 in your account, but if it feels, your gut is telling you it's the right investment, you got to jump, right? Mm-hmm. And that's my second one. You got to go all in. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in order to see the big rewards, you got to take the big risk, and it feels scary, but I mean, again, I'm going to speak for you, Matt, but I know when I go all in and I'm taking that big risk, that's when I'm putting in all my passion. I'm putting in all my faith. I'm putting in all my energy. I'm putting in, like, there's no turning back, right? The ships are burnt, mm-hmm. right? Like, I got no choice but to be successful because I'm not going to get a job, mm-hmm. right? So going all in is the only way to go. It's success or bust, right? So, like, to me, like, you got to go all in, and you've proven that in the story. And I think one more takeaway there is that we say this a lot in the DM fam, we say it in the Inner Circle family, my mastermind, but the people that are really changing lives, the people that are really super successful, the people that are creating leaders, that are creating businesses, that are creating jobs, that are affecting change in industry, those people are changing every 6 months. If you can look in the mirror and you can think about the person you were 6 months ago, and you can say, I'm the same person, then you're not being effective enough. Not for yourself, not for your family, not for your friends, not for your relationships, not for your business partners, certainly not for the people in your mastermind. You have to be changing every 6 months. You have to be leveling up to a different place. You should be a completely different person every 6 months, both in strength and mental focus, in clarity, financially. You should be a different person every 6 months. And Matt, you, again, just proved that in the story, right? Every 6 months you've changed. God, I mean, dude, I haven't seen you in 6 months. You're physically a different person than you were 6 months ago, right? Yeah. And it's just awesome.
Thank you, man. And I think we're all, it's, dude, I'll put it this way. Entrepreneurship is a contact sport.
100%.
Get ready for that, guys. Like, anybody out there watching this that thinks this is not like, hey, let's strap it on and tighten that chin strap and put that mouthpiece in, then, you're going to get demolished.
Yep.
And so that only comes with experience, right? So I know, dude, I know your story, Joe. I know a lot of guys' stories, and mine's very similar to many. And I just keep relating it back to, your deep, this is cliche, but it really is. It's your deep-seated why. And your ability to really focus, is huge, right? So we're all gonna have challenges. It's designed that way, right? Because there's a low barrier of entry, right, in this business. Like, you have half a brain and a phone, you could get into real estate. So everyone, it's an equal playing field in terms of the entry, right? But to get to levels, like to be a guy that's making, $100,000 a year in wholesaling is a level from the newbie, right? Then there's a barrier of entry to get, okay, how do I double that, right? There's barriers of entry at every level. So, like, we're over here talking like, okay, like, I feel like I'm hitting my head against the ceiling. How do I break past into the, $2 million gross, if you will, right? So it's
the truth is we're chasing challenges. We're
Yeah.
trying to find people that are just starting out they don't understand what we're talking about. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, I hate challenges. I'm running from them. I don't want to challenge myself. And we're like, dude, I wake up every morning trying to find a challenge. I want people in my mastermind that are calling me and I can't answer their question. Like, I want challenge. I seek them. I'm looking for them, right? My business, I want bigger challenges. I want bigger. The only difference is I want the $500,000 problem to become a $50 million problem. I want a bigger challenge every single day. That's what drives us.
Oh, you're right. And the lack of that is, death, because that, then the depression and the negative self-talk and the self-loathing and all that, starts to come in, because you're inactive, and your mind's built the way to move and to process and to think and to, grow and to take action.
Yeah.
I don't like I like talking about things, but I'm like, okay, enough talking. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to touch on two more things and then jump into something else. So the question for you is, so you said that last deal was right place, right time. Do you believe that you create your own luck?
Yeah. Yeah. My grandfather always told me, he had some great one-liners that I remember, but he was in the real estate business. So he would always say, you got to turn over rocks. You got to turn over rocks because, eventually you're going to find gold under those rocks. And so okay, Grandpa, but when you think about it, he was like talking about prospecting, right?
Yeah.
He was like, the guys always said, "Oh, Marty, you're wearing your lucky suit. You got this new lucky suit on." He's like, there's nothing with my suit. I was in there working. I was talking to people. And people overcomplicate this whole thing. And, you got to take the action, so the action will lead to conversations.
Yeah.
Conversations, because then conversations identify wants and needs and how you can help, and then that opens up the opportunity to put people together or make a sale. And that's where the opportunity, hey, you got to do marketing. People sit back and like, I got no deals. I got no, who am I supposed to call? I don't talk to anybody. I'm like, well, how much are you spending on marketing? Oh, nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the first problem, and so the actions will lead to opportunities or luck, right? I mean,
absolutely.
We just last week, I was writing my team like, dude, where's the opportunities? Why aren't you on the phone? Why aren't you having more conversations, asking how you can help? But we're still so we're consistent with our actions, and then next thing you know, boom, we tie up a 6-house property deal at a great price. It looks like we've got some interested buyers. If that comes together, it's up over $100,000 wholesale fee. You know, and it's just because I've forced my name out there. I'm forcing my company to be known. I want to be a force to be reckoned with, not because I have an ego, it's because I know I can help more people, and in turn, I could help more sellers. I could help other investors level up. I could help my team reach their goals. I mean, there's so much opportunity, but if you're stuck behind a desk and you're afraid to put your name out there, if you're afraid to get behind a camera, if you're afraid to drop some money into a marketing campaign, bounce, dude, leave. You're doing a disservice to yourself. You're just, you're not understanding what you've signed up to do. And that's what many people don't understand.
100%, man. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. The right place and the right time is created by activity, action, and speed. The more that you create that activity and that opportunity for yourself, that's right place, right time. You will be in the right place, right time, the more you take action. Right? And I want everyone in sales that's listening to this to pay attention to that. Right place, right time comes from being in action. When you're not in action, you won't find that right place, right time. Your phone is not just going to ring with a motivated seller.
Dude, and I think more and more, Joe, is like our ability, I'm really buying into this, like our ability to convey and transfer our energy, which will allow us to influence people, right? So, like I look at stuff like influencers, right? They're neuralistically programming you, right? Mm-hmm. But you've got to bring an edge to whoever you encounter out there, because you've got to stand out from the crowd. And it's not about how great you are, but I'll give you a little tip that we shared, and you talked about this, but identifying people's unique abilities or their gifts is a great way to connect with someone on a just a first initial meeting. It's not like, hey bro, nice to meet you. Like, that's not connecting. Connecting is get to know what moves Joe, what your passion is. And then I see Joe, man, dude, you've got so many unique, you're philanthropic, you're generous, you care, you're a great dad, you're a great husband. I mean, all these things are unique abilities. Those are not everybody has those, right? So I see those in you as my friend. That's why I wanted to come hang out with you at the Super Bowl and see you celebrate the Eagles' victory. I mean, I'll remember that the rest of my life. But it's like, how can we impact the people that were around and have these memories and events and do cool stuff together? Because then the deals just happen. Like the money follows the activity, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
I'll
take it one step further too. I take it one step further. When you meet people and you interact with them and you understand their unique ability, the follow-up when you're sending a handwritten card or a gift, or their kids' names, or their kid plays soccer, or that their wife likes to bake, and you send them some sort of specific gift baked around baking or something like that, random things that you learn about them, take it to a whole nother level from a personal standpoint, right?
Oh man, dude, it's a game changer.
So understanding that is really what makes the connection happen, right?
Yeah.
And too many people they're running at a pace that they're not slowing down enough to actually pay attention. They're having conversations, but they're not actually paying attention.
100%. I'm guilty of this. This is something that we have to be aware of, and I'm naturally introverted, right? I think we've all talked about how we're naturally. You put us in a big room, I'm probably going to hang out with guys that I know and talk about stuff that I like to talk about. I'm not a social butterfly. There's a difference, right? But if you see something and you feel like you can add value to someone, or you're trying to connect with someone, or you want to meet someone, I think those are just great examples of how you could differentiate yourself from their average conversation that is mind-numbing and goes one in. It's you're not rememberable.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that as well. So Matt, I don't want to keep you on. I want to respect your time here. I want to keep you on the pod too long, but the podcast is called The Legacy Blueprint. So we want to jump into legacy for a quick second here. Can you talk to us a little bit about what legacy means to you, how you live it every day, how you plan on leaving it? I know you got, a great little family that you've created. You got 2 young boys. What does it look like for you as far as the team goes, as far as the business goes, the lifestyle you've created? What is legacy? How does it play a part in your life?
Joe, it's a great question, and it's something that we talk about a lot, but I hadn't spent a whole lot of time really exploring what that looked like for me until I keep going back to this. We're doing this book challenge, in the fam, and so it's kind of forced me to sit back and think, right, and kind of go through my memories of the childhood. I kind of shared, those times that what I was thinking about and how my money blueprint was given to me by my parents, and looking at how their parents operated around money, and then how the lack of money caused so much sorrow and hurt in my family, really left a big wound in me, and then also what that required my parents to do in terms of no stable income, so they were out of the house, and not a lot of time to nurture and develop young Matt, right? So, I didn't understand a lot of that until you start realizing where you came from and how you were thinking about how you felt about your family. I remember times I don't blame my parents at all. It's just how I felt. Like sometimes I was embarrassed to get dropped off at school because we were driving the hoopty, right? Or I was wanting the Jordans I'd cry. Like, I want the Jordan. My mom was like, you have a champagne taste on a beer budget. Like, I don't even know what that means. Jordan. I just like that, the materialistic stuff, right? At first, as a kid. So then that was the driver.
Yeah.
Like, when you get into, I want that Rolex. I want that Porsche. I want that car. I want whatever, right? It doesn't matter. And then, so going back to what the legacy is now. So I've been writing this stuff down. So it's like, I'm born for this. So it's like how I decided to change my family's legacy, right? So I really been thinking like all those challenges that I've gone through in my life, and even while I'm in business, has given me a priceless education that I'm gonna hopefully transfer to my sons. And God willing, like they're gonna have interest, and we talk to them, and they ask, Daddy, how many deals did you close today? So they talk about those types of, they kind of speak the language already. And so I just know like the knowledge that my kids are going to have, or they're going to be dangerous. I think that, getting them in at 18 or 19 years old. I mean, even my wife told me the other day, and I was shocked, like the kids aren't going to go to college. They're going to go to work for you. I was like, really? You don't want them to go experience that? And she's like, heck no. Like, that's a waste of time. Like, let's get them on the track to investing and learning and whatever that looks like at that time. But that's a legacy piece, right? Because I had no money education growing up. Like, I didn't think about or care or even really know about what, cash flow or liquidity or net worth or, how to even, at the time I was like, dude, if I can make $100,000, it'd be game over. Right? Like I remember having those.
I'm retired.
Dude, 100K? What? Like,
Now
like,
it's payroll.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, if I could, maybe I'm not the guy that's going to leave millions and millions and millions of dollars to my kids, but I could promise you I'm going to be the one to spark that movement. So my kids are going to have that chance for sure. They're going to be able to leave, I think, a huge financial legacy for their kids because they're going to have all the knowledge from an early start. I had a little bit of a later start, but I mean, I'm going to still pull my weight when it's all said and done. So I'm not saying that my kids are not going to be, given both sides of it, both the knowledge and maybe some money to start. We'll see. But, I'm cool with that, right? Even if I just give them the knowledge so that they can, stop this generational, I don't want to say it's a curse, but it's been a generational lack of successful people in my family in terms of the men. And
sure.
So I'm excited to, I kind of realized that I could be the stopgap and then move it to the future generations.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Nice.
So that's huge, right? I think, that is a pretty deep seated why.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I love it. Love the explanation. So, Matt, I know you got an online wholesale training course. Is there a site for that where people can reach you?
Yeah, it's phenominvestor.com. If you want to go directly to the site and check out the course, you can reach out. I'm on all the social media, Matt Garabedian on Facebook, or Phenom Investor is my business page. On Instagram is the Phenom Investor Blueprint. It's a long handle. I'm probably going to change that. But the Phenom Investor Blueprint on Instagram, I do a lot of content on there. I have a YouTube page, Matt Garabedian. I'm starting to roll out a lot of content, trying to be consistent with that. And I'm rolling out a one-on-one or a live coaching program here in the next 30 to 45 days. I'm looking for 10 students. So if someone's looking to do that, please reach out. Other than that, I'm pretty easy to find.
Awesome, brother. Any questions I missed, Matt?
Any questions that you missed?
Anything I missed? Anything I didn't cover? Anything we didn't rap about?
No, I mean, I think we've got quite a bit of good information here, and we can go on and on.
Cool, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't have anything off the top of my head that I feel like I need to get off my chest or.
Good stuff, man. Cool, Matt. Well, I appreciate having you on, man. As always, awesome interview. Really, really good stuff. I know that specifically the real estate entrepreneurs that pay attention to the show are going to get a lot out of this. If you're listening, make sure you hit up Matt. His wholesale course is amazing. I've actually gone through it myself and got some great content. We stole some nuggets out of that for our team as well. And hit up Matt for his one-on-one coaching as well. Matt, thank you so much for being on the show, brother.
My pleasure, brother.
All
Thank
right,
you.
cool. Absolutely.